We're going to move as quickly as we possibly can and prove our innocence, where sometimes people judge you before they give you a chance.
I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court that this was personal. Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
What began as a small contract dispute between Hollywood personalities has spiraled into a full-blown war of reputation, loaded with text leaks, public confrontations, and now, shockingly, a cameo by conservative commentator Candace Owens. Yes, you read that right. Owens has stepped into the fray, and her involvement has shaken this high-profile dispute to its core. At the center of it all stand three big names: Blake Lively, her longtime partner, Ryan Reynolds, and a producer named Justin Baldoni. They'd previously seemed so tight-knit that the idea of them clashing in court felt impossible, but the dynamic quickly shifted when private messages surfaced, painting a portrait of deception, double-cross, and hidden grudges.
I would say all of it did not generate with this PR team. I mean, since I've been involved in this case, I've gotten 50 either texts or emails or, things to my firm's website, more than 50 actually, about this was my experience with Blake Lively. We weren't allowed to talk to her on the set. We weren't allowed to ask for an autograph. We were, instructed, this way or that. We were treated like this.
Many speculated that this case would drag on for months or even years, fueled by big budgets and star power. Then something extraordinary happened. The presiding judge struck down a major portion of the case after citing newly introduced evidence from none other than Candace Owens. That decision, abrupt and utterly unexpected, left Blake Lively in a state that onlookers described as a total meltdown. So how did Candace Owens get involved? And why would the court take her input so seriously that it could derail months of legal maneuvering? The story, layered with rumors, alliances, and hush-hush deals, only gets more complicated from here. What's certain is that Hollywood's polished veneer has once again begun to crack, revealing the fragile egos and hidden motives lurking underneath.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, think of the ladies I can talk. Like, this is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh really? Because I just have one on my list.
The entire city now buzzes with the same burning question. Who stands to lose the most? And who orchestrated this drama in the first place? The origin of this fiasco has become something of a legend. At first, it seemed like a standard contract dispute involving Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Insiders whispered that money or creative control might be the culprit. However, the tension escalated almost overnight when a raft of leaked texts exposed a web of accusations, betrayal, broken promises, and the downright sabotage of entire production processes. Some messages hinted that certain allies had been complicit in manipulating scripts, while others pointed to personal vendettas overshadowing any genuine collaboration. Soon after, the situation escalated further. Ryan Reynolds abruptly changed his public stance on Justin Baldoni. Initially, he'd praised Justin's unparalleled dedication and wonderful vision. But not long after, a private text from Ryan surfaced, calling Justin a deranged predator. That whiplash-inducing shift had fans and fellow celebrities speculating about what shocking revelation could make Ryan turn so drastically against someone he had once vouched for. In the midst of all that drama, few paid attention to Candace Owens' tangential involvement. The first sign that she might play a pivotal role came when she commented on a live stream about celebrities weaponizing personal disputes. At the time, it was dismissed as just another commentator weighing in on the gossip of the day. No one could have guessed that, within weeks, her name would show up in official court documents. And it definitely didn't seem likely that a judge, usually more concerned with the letter of the law than with commentary from talk shows, would reference her as a source of critical evidence.
About how sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way. I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have.
But the strangest pieces of any puzzle often don't make sense until the very end. In this case, the seeds had already been planted. Hollywood watchers soon realized that this legal fight was a tinderbox, and all it needed was one spark of the right kind of information to explode. When Blake Lively's legal team marched into the courtroom seeking a gag order, the assumption was that the judge would grant it. The media frenzy had grown relentless, with each new rumor fueling tabloid headlines. A gag order would presumably muzzle the leaks and quiet the press, giving both parties a chance to address matters privately. Instead, the judge refused, sparking the meltdown that tabloids labeled Lively's biggest miscalculation. The immediate response from Blake's team was to double down. Rumors circulated that she planned a Valentine's Day counterattack, some kind of massive legal or PR bombshell timed for maximum impact. Nobody knew exactly what she intended to reveal, but speculation ran wild about text dumps, video clips, or internal memos that would tilt public sympathy firmly in her direction. Tensions skyrocketed. Fans of both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni began taking sides, arguing passionately on social media about who was right. But that wasn't the only shocker. According to multiple sources, Candace Owens' name appeared in the denied gag order. Observers wondered, why try to block a political commentator's public statements from being mentioned in court? Could it be that Blake feared whatever Owens was about to disclose? Some said it was a protective reflex that Owens might have received private DMs or inside scoop from an unhappy staffer. Others speculated that Blake's side was concerned about recordings Owens might have in her possession. Whatever the truth, it was increasingly clear that the countdown to Valentine's Day involved more than just romance. It was a ticking time bomb for everyone caught in this fiasco. Ryan Reynolds' sudden pivot against Justin Baldoni remains one of the most puzzling elements of this entire saga. One day, they were all smiles at fundraising galas and red carpet events. The next, Ryan's leaked text called Justin a deranged predator. The phrase was so loaded it practically demanded an explanation that Ryan never provided publicly. People who'd worked alongside the two men began to share anecdotes, many of which were contradictory. Some insisted they maintained a genuine friendship built on similar comedic sensibilities and philanthropic goals. Others said that tension had simmered for years, particularly as both fought to shape the creative direction of their projects. Some pinned the blame on a third party rumored to have stoked animosity behind the scenes. The specifics were murky, but the message was clear. Alliances in Hollywood are often as fleeting as an award show standing ovation. Candace Owens entered the scene quietly at first, questioning in her live broadcasts whether Ryan's shift might be strategically timed. She speculated that external pressures, perhaps from Blake Lively or influential producers, had maneuvered Ryan into painting Justin as the villain of the story. While mainstream media paid little heed to her theories, certain corners of the internet latched onto them. On fan forums, debates flared about whether Owens was simply stirring the pot for views, or whether she'd uncovered a crucial piece of intel. Little did anyone know that her commentary was inching ever closer to the heart of the legal matter. And soon, it would become the very evidence that changed the direction of the entire case. In the background of all this, a peculiar detail kept cropping up: the role of an intimacy coordinator. Typically, An intimacy coordinator oversees sensitive scenes to ensure everyone's comfort and safety. But in these legal filings, the position took on an unexpected significance. One account claimed that the coordinator had arranged a special meeting to address unusual friction among the cast, friction that might involve jealousy, creative clashes, or alleged misconduct. Blake Lively's notable absence from that meeting raised eyebrows. Officially, her team cited scheduling conflicts, but rumors suggested she'd intentionally skipped it. Could she have been avoiding accusations that were set to surface during that gathering? Or had she simply grown weary of constant scrutiny? Regardless, her decision to stay away fed into the narrative that bigger secrets were hiding beneath the polished promotional interviews. Around this time, Candace Owens began referencing the intimacy coordinator in her online commentary. She posed theories that some Hollywood elites use such roles not just for safety, but also to control narratives around physical or emotional boundaries on set. Owens hinted that a hush-hush incident may have sparked the entire conflict, an incident the intimacy coordinator either witnessed or had knowledge of. Though she offered no concrete proof, her probing raised the stakes, making casual fans wonder if the coordinator might eventually testify or release a statement. This hush-hush drama only gained more significance when the courts began examining the broader pattern of secrecy swirling around the production. What was shocking was Candace Owens's repeated allusions to having seen evidence that Swift's name appeared in crucial text threads. Owens claimed that if these communications came to light, they might reveal how many external parties had weighed in on the feud. This put Swift's massive fan base on high alert, eager to protect her from negative fallout. Some insisted that Swift had no real stake in the dispute, while others believed she might have offered private advice that could be construed as meddling. Despite the swirling accusations, some cast members rallied behind Justin Baldoni. They praised him as an encouraging, detail-oriented producer who'd go the extra mile for his team. Public interviews showcased glowing narratives, from the production assistants who said Justin treated them with respect, to supporting actors who credited him for a positive work environment. This portrayal directly conflicted with the damaging text leaks in which some of those same individuals allegedly expressed fear or mistrust toward him. Blake Lively, too, wasn't exempt from such contradictions. The actress, who was frequently lauded for her kindness on set, now found her actions scrutinized for hidden motives. Critics argued that her warmth could have been strategic, a way to build loyalty against anyone she considered a threat. But the strangest twist was how Candace Owens managed to obtain and then broadcast tidbits from these conflicting testimonies. In a series of online videos, she read excerpts from internal emails that seemingly contradicted the cast's official statements. While some dismissed it as Owens' courting controversy, others took note. Every time she shared new evidence, it aligned with or even predated official court leaks. It led many to wonder whether she had an inside source feeding her verifiable information. And if so, how closely was that source tied to either Lively or Baldoni? The tension between the sunny public facade and the explosive private remarks underlined a fundamental truth. In Hollywood, outward appearances often mask hidden agendas. Yet nobody anticipated that these agendas would be laid bare so dramatically, and that Candace Owens' revelations might become critical to a judge's decision. The bombshell dropped when the court took an unexpected recess, and the judge reconvened with a surprising announcement. Certain pieces of evidence presented by Candace Owens, originally filed as part of a broader motion, were instrumental in clarifying inconsistencies in the case. In essence, the court considered Owens' documentation reliable enough to cast doubt on the testimonies that had kept the lawsuit alive. According to courthouse insiders, the Owens evidence featured audio clips and transcripts that contradicted statements made under oath by key witnesses. One rumor suggested the recordings showed private phone calls where parties admitted to inflating accusations for leverage. Another rumor held that text messages pointed to a setup orchestrated to corner Justin Baldoni into a financial settlement. The exact content remains sealed, but the effects were immediate. The judge struck down a massive chunk of Blake Lively's claims, crippling the case she and her legal team had built for months. Chaos erupted in the courtroom. Onlookers described Blake Lively as visibly distraught, slamming documents onto the table and demanding explanations from her attorneys. People whispered that she'd never anticipated Candace Owens' involvement to hold any weight in such a high-stakes setting. The meltdown, both emotional and legal, became front-page news within hours. Overnight, the tide shifted dramatically, with mainstream outlets now asking whether Lively's claims had been overblown all along. Yet while some called this a victory for Justin Baldoni, others warned it was only the first battle. Legally speaking, the entire case wasn't dismissed. The judge merely removed several key pillars, weakening Lively's position. But the moment was historic. Seldom had a celebrity commentator's evidence proven decisive in a Hollywood legal showdown, and it underscored just how unpredictable the modern information landscape can be. As the dust settled, the question on everyone's mind was, what happens next? Ryan Reynolds, silent for days leading up to the bombshell, posted a cryptic social media message about always seeking truth, no matter where it comes from. Some interpreted it as a thinly veiled nod to Candace Owens' evidence. Others read it as a dig at his wife's legal approach. Either way, the statement made clear that the drama was far from over. Blake Lively's meltdown became tabloid fodder. Cameras followed her every move, capturing tense scenes in which she dodged reporters asking about Candace Owens. Meanwhile, #TeamBlake and #TeamBaldoni hashtags soared in popularity on social media. Users argued about the moral implications of using a polarizing figure like Owens as an evidentiary source. Some questioned whether her involvement might set a dangerous precedent, encouraging more outsiders to meddle in celebrity trials for fame or financial gain. Yet no one could deny that, in the eyes of the court, the evidence Owens brought forward mattered. On the other side, Justin Baldoni's camp looked emboldened. Sources close to him claimed that the newly introduced evidence validated everything they'd been saying from the start, that Blake's accusations were either overblown or orchestrated to secure a substantial payout. Now that the judge had dismissed key claims, Baldoni's attorneys felt confident they could unravel the rest of the lawsuit. And with the glare of the media intensifying, Baldoni's call for transparency struck a chord. Would Lively attempt a settlement now that her leverage had weakened? Or would she press on, risking even more damaging revelations? The entire saga has cast a harsh light on how fragile alliances can be in the entertainment industry. Friends one day, mortal enemies the next. Performative camaraderie at charity galas, followed by incendiary accusations in leaked texts. A-listers like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, seemingly invincible in their star power, now find themselves navigating a minefield of potential PR disasters. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, once a lesser-known producer, has become a household name, albeit under dramatic and divisive circumstances. For Blake Lively, this meltdown doesn't necessarily spell the end of her legal fight, only a massive setback. She may regroup and present new arguments, possibly aided by her own set of secret documents. Ryan Reynolds remains a wild card, his abrupt pivot causing more speculation than clarity. Looking ahead, the aftermath of this meltdown could reshape Hollywood's approach to handling scandals. Stars might be more cautious about who they befriend or confide in, fearful that private remarks could surface at the worst possible moment. Studios, too, might impose stricter guidelines for cast communication, given how easily text messages, videos, and behind-the-scenes accounts can spread. And as for Candace Owens, Her involvement might embolden other online voices' celebrity, or not to delve into complicated A-list disputes, armed with the knowledge that modern courts may well take their evidence seriously. For now, the dust has settled enough to see the outlines of the battlefield. Lively's lawsuit has been gutted, Baldoni's defense stands stronger than ever, and Candace Owens has cemented herself as an unlikely power broker in a realm that once scorned outsiders. The countdown to Valentine's Day remains in the background, though its anticipated fireworks have changed in tone. Instead of a triumphant revelation from Blake, that day might simply be the next stage in a war that has already set new precedents. One lesson is clear: no one is immune to a meltdown when the stakes are high enough, and the cameras are always rolling. For the latest news, check out the next video.